everyone, it's Laura, and I hope you're all doing well. So for those of y'all who are new to my channel, I'm a registered dietitian, and I love making videos about food and nutrition, and I also really like making videos for individuals who are interested in becoming a dietitian or who are taking the steps to do so. So this video is a dietitian Q&A video. So essentially what I do is I go to my last dietitian Q&A video and I just answer all the questions that y'all have left in the comments below. And so let's get started. What would be your next step if you didn't get accepted into an internship? Can you keep applying? So for those of y'all who don't know a lot about the process about becoming a dietitian, historically, 4 years at an accredited university, then you apply to an internship. And so the issue is that there aren't as many internship spots as there are applicants. So a lot of people don't get accepted into an internship. And so this individual is wondering, okay, if I study for 4 years, if I study nutrition, and then I don't get an internship, what the heck do I do? And so you have a few options. One of them is to, when you're applying for internships, also apply separately for master's programs. And so just go ahead and get your master's. And then once you have your master's in nutrition, then internships, I guarantee you'll be a good applicant, assuming you kept your grades up. So you can either get your master's degree and then reapply, or so they have programs that start in the winter and then the programs that start in the fall. And so you can wait 6 months, reapply. You can keep reapplying. I think after 5 years, if you don't get accepted, then you have to go back and retake some undergrad classes. But yeah, you can keep applying. If you don't get accepted and you 100% know you want to be a dietitian, I would go ahead and get your master's in nutrition because you're going to need it anyways. But you can also scramble. So one of my friends, she didn't get accepted first round, and then there's open spots across the country that you can scramble and get into, and she scrambled and got into another program. So if you don't, I strongly encourage you to be open to move anywhere, to do your internship anywhere, you know, because if it means you're spending a year in Timbuktu, you know, like BFE, then it's worth it if it means you get it done. You know, even if it means you have to be away from your family or you have to go to a city you don't want to go to, at least you're getting it done and you're getting it out of the way and you're able to go ahead and start your career. And a lot of my friends that didn't get accepted, it's because they were so stringent on where they wanted to go. You know, they only wanted to go to 1 or 2 schools. They wanted to stay in the state. They weren't open to going anywhere else. Versus I applied a bunch of places. I applied to, obviously up in Chicago, I went to Rush. I applied to Kansas. I applied to Arkansas. I applied to, there was one in Mississippi I applied to. Like, I mean, I just applied to everywhere, you know, and it can get pricey and it can get expensive applying to all these places, but if it means you get an internship, then it's worth it. How is the money in dietitian careers? How much do you make full-time versus part-time? So this is actually improving over since I moved to Mobile, it's drastically, since I moved back home into Alabama, it's drastically improved the amount of money that's being made as a dietitian. Granted, you're still not making millions, but like, for instance, when my first job in New York, I was making $50,000. When I moved, and this is full-time, when I moved back to Chicago, I was making just above $50,000. I was a new dietitian, but at the same time, I was living in New York and Chicago. You know, it's super expensive there. I was living paycheck to paycheck. However, the more experience you have in our field, the more money you make. So our field puts a lot of weight on years of experience. And so, for instance, my job in Chicago, they had a clinical ladder. So they had clinical dietitian 1, clinical dietitian 2, and then advanced dietitian. and you had to do certain things in order to move up the ladder. But with each ladder bump you got a 10% raise. So if I started out at 53, say I worked towards becoming a clinical 2 for 2 years, and I got you get about a 4%, or this was this specific job, you got a 4% raise each year. So like, say I started out at 53, got a 4% raise, got another 4% raise, and then became a clinical dietitian 2, got a 10% raise. So you do kind of start out at not making the best money, but you do work your way up, and you can be, making pretty good money, assuming you stay at the same job, and you can work your way up. My job I got here, I started out making, when I first moved back here, making like 42, 43, and then they actually gave us a $5,000 raise because they hadn't given a raise in a really long time. So then I was making like 48, 49, something like that. And then I went part-time and was making $30 an hour. And I was working like, it totally depended on the week. Some weeks I didn't work there at all. Some weeks I worked 16 hours. It just depended. But when I actually worked per diem in Chicago for a little bit, and I was making, I think, 40 an hour, I think. I'm not really positive about that. But then I have friends now who have just gotten new jobs, and they're making 54, 55, 56,000 a year. So it is, I have one friend who she's making 67 a year, and she's my age, she's 30, so she's been out, she has like 7 years of experience. So you can work your way up. My friends in Chicago are making more just because of the clinical ladder, and they get pay bumps every year. So like my job in Chicago, if you stay there for a good chunk of time, you can be making a good chunk of money. If you eventually become a clinical nutrition manager, which means that you're over all the dietitians, that's when you really start to get into the 6 figures, and you're making good money then. But again, that takes time. You're not going to be a clinical nutrition manager right out of your internship. You're going to start by making $50,000 and then you're just going to know that it's going to get better. Do you think males have an advantage getting into an internship due to the female domination in the field? No, I really don't think so. There was one guy in my graduating class at Auburn, and he didn't get an internship. I don't think it matters. I really don't. I don't think because you're a male that they're going to preface you, to get into the program, or vice versa. I don't think that they care. They look at GPA and GRE, and they care about your numbers and your resume. Yeah, that's all they look at. If you're a male and you have a 3.0 GPA and a female has a 3.2 GPA, she's going to get the internship over you. So you have to work just as hard as females do in order you don't get any preference because you're male. I really want to go back to school to become a dietitian. I found a school where I can complete my degree online. However, I'm scared I won't be able to get an internship near my home. I can't uproot my family and move. What are your thoughts? So I get this question a decent amount. So there are online programs that you can do to complete your undergraduate as a dietitian. I know the University of Alabama has one, and I just know about that one because I live in Alabama. And so there are online programs that you can do. I'll put a link below that'll take you to those. And then in regards to your internship, there are also, they call them distance internship programs. I'll put a link below to those. So basically, one of my friends did it. Hers was out of Colorado, I think. But how it works is you get accepted to this program, and then you contact preceptors yourself. And so she got accepted to a distance program. It was in Denver, I'm pretty sure. But then I forget, her husband was in the military, and so I forget where they moved. But they moved somewhere, and she contacted dietitians in the area to create her own schedule. And so it is more work on your end, and it can be a little bit stressful trying to find dietitians to accept you and to be your preceptor, but it very well can be done. Like I said, I'll put a link below to the online degrees and then also to the distance internship programs as well. So now that it is required to obtain a master's degree, does that mean the starting annual base pay is going to increase? So that's kind of one of the thoughts behind this is some of the other medical professionals who they have a required master's degree do make more money than us. So they may start in the 60s, whereas our starting salary is 50, you know. They do make more money than we do. And so that's one of the ideas behind requiring a master's is us making a better annual salary, because it is a lot of work. I mean, you take more science. I took more science classes than I had some pledge sisters who were in nursing, and I took more science than they did. You know, like, we take a lot of science, and it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of money, and you have to do the internship. And so that's the idea behind it. Who knows? I mean, we can't predict the future. But like I said, I'm hopeful just because since I moved back to Mobile, you know, I went from starting at 43 to one of my friends just got a job at like 56,000, you know, and she has like 4 years less experience than me. And so our annual salary is going up, but the hope is that it goes up even more with the master's degree required. So I hope this video helped y'all out. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to leave them below. I love making these videos, and like I said, my next dietitian Q&A video will 100% come from the questions y'all ask down below. So ask whatever you want, I'll answer it. I'm an open book, so anything you want to know, I'll answer it. Like I said, if you have any questions, leave them below, and I'll see y'all soon.